Question: do we Christians have to obey the law in physical flesh or only in spiritual? Romans 7:14, to worship God in truth and spirit, and not in the letter of the law only, that is physical and not spiritual. Answer: the Messiah Jesus Christ no were breaking and militant physical obedience of the law and the commandments of the Torah, and were meanings and only opened when there is inner part the secret that were hidden in them. Can we not be allowed to be angry, but we be able to kill? For this would be true if Christ changed the law, and this would be like this if the spiritual killed the physical law. Therefore, the letter and the spiritual meaning in their place were like spiritual law of circumstances. Your heart doesn't change the physical law of circumstance. Ezekiel 44, 6-8. Question: who in our days preaches another Christ? 2 Corinthians 11:4. Answer: those who have not accepted Christ how they should have. Jesus taught to obey the will of God, all the laws of God. Sinners, on the other hand, calling themselves with the name of Christ, preaching and teaching of sin. 2 Peter 3:17. By convicting preaching, they lead the hearts of ordinary people into lies. Romans 16:18. Today, the Christianity Christ Jesus is not only preaching on the basic of the New Testament. Jesus himself said his teaching and mission on the basic of the Torah, the prophets, and the scriptures. Therefore, such preaching about Jesus based on only the New Testament is preached for an Antichrist. From this, we can confirm that if we don't celebrate the holy days of God in the time He said we must do so by celebrating one in another time, we are not worshiping God, but the demons, because we are not obeying His will. 1 Corinthians 10:20. That's why we must celebrate the Passover according to the teaching of God, and not the idolism preaching with teaching us do so, for it's only there taught on the scriptures how the Egyptians had a god and a lamb. Same the lamb, Christ, has become a god in Christianity, and they worshipped Christ as God. This is that other false Christ that is being preached after the 400 year after the birth of Christ. Today, the Passover is celebrated by the Christians not by what God has ordered for them, celebrating it monthly, no one the day God said it must be celebrated, but by the false thoughts of preachers. In the Bible it is written, the law of the Passover is from year to year. Exodus 13:10. Daniel Nistar. Question: the Torah for Jews only or for all nations? Answer: the Torah is for all and for all times, but those of Esau, Christians, and Ismail, Muslims, and other nations of the planet Earth who have not come into these live and who will reach this stage through reincarnation. Ezekiel 1-4, John 3:7, Acts 3:21, Isaiah 60:21. The soul has a chance to change for the better things of reincarnation. Any soul can become perfect. Matthew 21-5. The book of Zahar is talking about the specifics of reincarnation of the soul. The world will become righteousness if they come close to the Torah by accepting the secrets of the Torah. Secrets of the Torah. This is the book of the holiness, and those who study the Torah will now and will of God become. They learn it from the Torah. Romans 2:18. Question: how do we explain David killing so many people so cruel? Answer: this is how the Old Testament is, an eye for an eye, but Christ's God's glory, His law in love. Eschat 41:41. Matthew, the entire 5th chapter. That's why from day to day the spirit of man renews itself. Question: what is the spiritual meaning of the 3 books of Solomon to people? The 3 books of Solomon symbolize the book of Songs of Songs. The reading during the Passover shows on the young years of the person. This book talks about the spirit of man united with God and true love. Key words in the book is love. The book of Proverbs shows the mid ages of people when they reach wisdom, and this year's key book wisdom. Question: was the Mosaic law meant to be preached? Permitted? Answer: no, it wasn't. Not only does the New Testament book in Hebrews make clear that it was temporary, but the Old Testament itself promises a new covenant in Jeremiah 31 and Ecclesiastes 36. Show was completely ignorant the Torah, the first 5 books of the Old Testament, where the law is found, and hopelessly regard the Christian today. Not exactly. The Torah does not contain timeless commandments that reflect God's nature, but it also contains temporary laws that are directed at the deeply sinful people living in a fleshful culture during a specific period of time in history. Dmitry Shidoritsky. Question: does God know what I will do by free will? Answer: most atheists think they can avoid the issue by denying that God or divine fate exists. Unfortunately, once you banish an unlimited mind as the source of the universe, you are only left with impression of physical laws operating on matter and energy. So free will for the atheist is just an illusion that our higher innovation brain gives us. Unfailingly, we are conveniently determined in our actions and choices by chemical and physical, by the medical moment of atomic parties. Monadic pistons argue that all the Earth's life is just an illusion, that we are actually part of one illusion imprisoning being. When we realize that we are part of this one unlimited being, the illusion of our individual lives ends as we immigrate with the unlimited being. Daniel Listar. Amen.